It's Halloween, but it's also the 100th anniversary of the installation of Benito Mussolini as the Prime Minister of Italy. Happened without a vote being taken. It was a monarchy at the time in Italy, ruled by King Victor Emmanuel III. But let's be clear, Mussolini had grown an army, had begun taking over big chunks of Italy, and his army was ready to attack Rome, and the king's like, maybe we can do a deal. But let me be clear, if there had been an election, Mussolini would have won easily, hands down. He was proud for his party to be called fascism. He was proud to be called fascist. He is the father of this whole thing. I bring it up because, Democrats in the press are consistently labeling Trump a fascist. And of course, his followers are fascist. This is so dumb, so incomprehensible, I can't even stress. It just proves that people don't know a thing about history, or they're just going to deny it. Tell them to shut up and learn some history. So let's talk about Mussolini. He began his career as a socialist. But after World War I, he felt like it didn't work, it was weak, and he wanted it to go even more extreme, further than socialism or communism. Total government control, and that was the birth of fascism. Now, once he took power, of course, he became a dictator, as they all want to do, and he controlled everything. Now, he did some things that were interesting. He created the Vatican, as a sovereign state. And basically the reason why was simple. He said to the Catholics, hey, you don't get in my business and I won't get in yours. And they're like, cool. He also, kind of a funny thing, he completely did away with the Senate. It was similar to our Congress, our Senate. He's going to make the big decisions anyway. So he just eliminated it. And he felt like, local governance should happen on the local level. Anyway, he did develop a police state. You got to make sure people obey everything that comes down the pike, much like the Democrats did during COVID. And there was brutality, but to his credit, he didn't kill as many of his own people as, say, Stalin or Hitler. He was big into propaganda, and you've heard the phrase cult of personality. Oh, that was him. Now, let me be clear about this. You can't have fascism without a supportive press. They've got to be what promotes the propaganda. So they talked about him as an incredible athlete, musician, intellectual giant. A sportsman. Go through the list. He was the most moral guy since Jesus. He was going to bring back the great Roman Empire, and he would be the next Caesar. You couldn't do that without the press. And I laugh at that. Can you imagine the New York Times being the cheerleader for Donald Trump? Yeah, that's going to happen. So, of course, he and other fascist leaders were executed by the Italian people. His body was hung up in Milan, upside down, where the people were given the chance to, throw things at it, spit on it, that kind of stuff. Did not end well. But I want to end this podcast with a quote from Giorgia Meloni. She is the latest prime minister, just elected, and our press is already calling her a fascist. I just want to give you the quote that she said about the Mussolini period. Ready? Quote, "The lowest point in Italian history, a shame that will mark our people forever." End quote. Hey, people, would you shut up and quit labeling people fascists?